Hello.
How are you today, sir?
I'm doing fine actually.
I'll turn you up just a little bit. Now, this might be the third Veneto replay you've submitted, is that correct?
Yeah.
Alright, now in this case, you are top tier. Congratulations.
The rare top tier.
Right? You've got an enemy tier 6 carry to deal with. But aside from that, not too much in the way of threats. Now, you've got sap loaded.
I also spawned a bit late, so...
Mm-hmm. You have sap loaded, is
Uh,
that because of potential early destroyer detection?
I typically have SAP loaded. I find that as the first salvo, it's more reliable than having AP loaded.
But then over time, AP is better because of saturation, right? So early on,
Uh,
you don't have anything you're gonna saturate, so you get maximum damage out of that SAP.
well, I was thinking Edinburgh was gonna go broadside here,
Mm-hmm.
so he was, a bit willing,
That's
to say
right.
the least.
Hey, Brand, your Nelson replay. Unfortunately, if your Nelson replay was from the last patch, it will no longer be able to be covered because I can only cover replays of the current patch. We're not able to go back in time, unfortunately, Brand.
Hmm.
It's one of the hard things about,
Then,
I know you jumped in towards the end of the last patch cycle, so as a result, it's really hard to get your replay covered. So I do apologize for that. But put in a new one for the new patch, and you should have a better chance at that.
so, for this match, so yeah, I switched back to SAP because SAP in general, it works a bit better.
Yeah.
Like, SAP first does more damage than AP. Like, if you look at the
Hmm.
actual alpha damage, SAP should be a bit on top.
Right. Well, it's just
So,
that buff penetration capability, right?
yep, since you're guaranteed pens, the SAP is actually very effective against almost all cruisers. The only
Hmm.
reason you fire AP is if you're trying to go for Citadel hit, like I did on that Edinburgh.
Right. Interesting. You ignored that Andrea Doria that was broadsiding you, and you could have had a good AP salvo on him, but you were looking at the York for that time.
Yep. York was a bigger threat, so I was concerned about him.
Got it.
I know the Andrea Doria was focused on North, so I wasn't too worried about him just yet.
Hmm. Hey, Chris, how
Now
you
I
doing?
wanted to, yeah, this time I wanted to go shoot his broadside. He angled, so that was not fair.
That's how it always works, right? You switch one type of ammo, and then the other one is the better one by the time the guns load.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many times I've switched to AP thinking somebody's going to give me a broadside, and then they switch and they go by one, so I go, fine, I switch to HE, then they give me broadside. I'm like, you freaking kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why SAP is kind of nice, because you don't have to worry about that so much. Yep.
Anyways, here's a fun question for you.
Mm.
So, what do you think of my positioning?
Well, normally I'd say it's a really bad, precarious spot, but judging by the fact that so much of the enemy teams went to both sides of the flanks, I'd say it's actually pretty okay. You do have your get out of jail free card, your ability to smoke and make inky. So that's good. You do have to watch out for that Massachusetts. And as you continue to go farther south, you will start to open up a broadside to the Alabama and North Carolina as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is a good summary of why I pretty much went south. So,
Mm-hmm.
because I spawned late, typically on this map, both sides will have invested on the flanks already, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I just YOLO down mid.
Right,
Especially since Veneto only has 18-kilometer range.
right. Now, you have relatively low concealment, as you can see there. You weren't detected for a bit until the Ryujo's AP bomber showed up. And you also notice that at least one of those battleships on the 10 line was shooting HE at you, LOL.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't reinforce your sectors at all.
Nope. I think I was a bit too focused on where the York was, so I didn't
Hmm,
sector for this one.
fair enough. The sector is tough because you have to take your hand off to hit the tilde key. One of the things that I like to do is I actually rebound my sector key to the V for victory key, so I can literally just put my index finger down one key. Boom, I can use priority sector. So I find it much more helpful that way because I can still maneuver, I can still focus on my target, I just have to know to hit the V key and that's it.
Hmm. I just keep it on tilde. I think I hit it with the pink key usually. But yeah,
Yeah.
rebinding it to V is actually a very good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I
So
use it so much.
North Carolina, Alabama are pretty far away. I'm not concerned about them at this range. They're
No.
firing at their near max, and most players can't lead properly at that range.
They're also too busy probably looking at the North Carolina, and the Alabama at least might be looking at you, but the North Carolina I'm sure is stuck in that little death spiral with his opponent there.
Yeah, I also wanted my div mate bow to kind of farm them out, so
Sure.
I just kind of ignored them.
Now, this is an opportunity right here. Here's a fun bug. I paused the game and it says you're capturing still. This is a really good opportunity to make inky with your smoke and throw off the AP bombers to assure that you get the cap. And then if you wanted to, you could always put the plane up at the same time to shoot at the enemy planes coming in. And it actually would get you the ability to hit the Alabama or Massachusetts if you wanted to, right?
Yes,
All right.
but you already know me pretty well.
Yep. Crusade Queens, hello. How are you doing? So he's taking the hit there to get the reset so that he can essentially spend more time in the cap and try to farm more anti-air kills with his planes. And also get out of the cap so that the enemy team continues to tick up damage or points so that the game runs. Actually, no, you're slowing down. Nope, you're speeding up.
I was contemplating taking a cap, but then I looked at the score again. I was like, you know what? This CV has to die before the game ends.
Yep, and you see where he is, so there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, you are now watching the SAT School of Anything Goes XP gaining and earning. So he's doing everything he can to earn more XP by not capping. He does forego some base capture points, but he does extend the battle because the enemy team has more points, which allows more of the enemy team to die, because when enemy ships die, then of course they have a subtraction in their total points.
Mm-hmm. In this, if I were to take the cap, like I could have with that smoke there, but that means we would tick it faster. I wouldn't get as much damage.
And rip your
Like we
Ryujo.
already, I'm confident we already won at this point. So I'm going to just run straight at Ryujo and pay him back for sending me all these planes.
Right. Now comes the part where your team throws. The Massachusetts is going to blap the Helena as it comes around, or the New Mexico will. That's my guess, at least.
Even if the enemy throws, I still have Bo in the mains, and he's been doing pretty well in it. So I still have a backup. I still have a backup plan.
That's true. What is that clan icon for Bo for QQ7?
Good question. I would guess it's a speedometer.
Yeah, it looks like a speedometer or a tachometer.
So you can probably speed it up. Not much happens right now.
Okay. Now, there very well could be parachutes coming in. We'll have to look for those. I didn't see any in this particular replay, but I'm pretty sure I have seen them.
Against tier 6 carriers, battleships are usually fine because they'll still spot you, but they won't be able to deal as much damage.
Mm-hmm.
That usually happens when you're up tiered CV. Like, yeah, you can still provide important spotting, but your damage output notably goes down.
No need for AP. Notice how SAP got 2 citadels on that weakly armored Ryujo. There he goes. Now, I'm surprised you didn't try to farm him a little bit more, but the Helena was coming in, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. If the points were a little bit closer, I would have definitely gone closer and farmed his planes. Unfortunately, just didn't have the time.
I distinctly remember a game where we were division where you did just that. You sat right off of the carrier and farmed planes as you launched them. In a destroyer, no less.
Mm-hmm. I'm just farming EXP, that's all.
That's right. And carrier tiers. Don't forget that. Well, thanks for sending that one in. That was an interesting play, and it kind of shows why it might not necessarily be a bad thing to spawn in late.
Yep.
Alright, cool. This is a 2-skull match. I think I'll wait till the end of this next replay is over. See where we're at timing wise. I did say that I would do my drawing, so I'm gonna go ahead and do my drawing. Last chance to get in. Exclamation point ticket gets you in. And SAT, thank you again as always for supporting the channel and hanging out.